everybody? Welcome to KARLTON Says Live. This is a special edition. We are just going to tackle some issues, just talk about some things that's been happening in our community and in our world in general. I want you to meet, well, you don't meet, you know them already, you've met them before, they've been here before. The guest co-host for this week's episode of KARLTON Says Live, Taisha Van Buren and Anthony Sleepy Eyes Carter. What's going on? How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. Well, guys, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Of course, you guys know that there's been a lot of, what was called with his murders of our black men recently in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and in Charlotte, North Carolina. Caused a lot of outrage. A lot of things are happening. People are just losing faith in our men and women in blue. And that's just, and especially like I said, and I think people are starting to get real tired and frustrated with what's going on. They really want to see some justice. But before, like I said, we're going to just talk about a lot of this stuff today. But I just want to get y'all's thoughts on everything, because it seems like what's happening is we have a shooting or two, or a murder or two, then it'll die down, and then bam, somebody's murdered again. So what's going on? What's the issue?
I wonder, is it happening more often than we know? Because with the news, whatever's going to be the most sensational is what they're going to put out there. So part of me wonders if it's happening a whole lot more than once or twice at a time, and then there's nothing for several months, and then it comes back, just because it's not, it's not as sensational, because a man to say that his car broke down and he was just walking, he was just coming from church and he was coming from school, that's kind of sensational, where the guy in Charlotte, to my understanding, he had a TBI. His wife was out recording, what was going on. It was kind of more public. It's sensational, but, I don't know.
Well, I mean, in the wake of, speaking of the perspective of how often does this happen, if we can be honest with you, if we can be honest with ourselves and the viewers and everybody else, let's be honest within, and I hate to put it like this, within black communities, the how can I put this? The clash between civilian and cop is extremely higher than what we really think. It's just not reported that often.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? What's going to have to happen is those cases that don't make it to headline news have to be blown up too.
Right.
So in order for anything to constantly continue to move, any small thing has to be actually, and I hate to say it like this, it has to almost be like a fanning of a flame to keep it going. So we can't wait for CNN, Fox News, NBC. We can't wait for all those things to catch up and see something happen, and then this one thing comes up, then we'll put out another. We might put out a third, and then it dies, like you said, it dies down. We'll wait probably about a good 6 months or so, and then we'll do another one that comes up. And it sounds so strategic when you say it like that, almost, right? But what's going to have to happen is our citizens in our cities going to have to start speaking up for the police brutality that does happen to them when the camera is off. They're going to have to yell, scream, and make noise. And I hate to say it, we might not like this either, but we're going to have to also, and it's something I was talking to one of our local community groups, is we got to start pushing for a strategic legislation change that holds the police departments accountable, but not only that, takes away the ability of the police department to be backed up by the police department investigating what the police department did.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's got to come from both sides of the fence. It can't just be on the spectrum of we'll march, we'll scream, we'll yell, but when do you get strategic about it? Again, if we study who we are as far as our history in this country, you've had those individuals on one side that just was like sparks and ran with it. But then underneath that surface, there was always a group of individuals that were strategically thinking on how to actually make something stick. And I truly believe there are individuals out there that are trying to make something actually stick. So let's not think that nobody's out there working. You got grassroots groups that are out there actually really truly putting in a lot of time and effort, but they're going to have to say If you do run across police brutality, file the report, let us know. And with social media, you can make anything sensational.
That's
Just
true.
through social media.
Mm.
You don't have to wait on the news anymore. It's just
That's
through
true.
social media.
That's true.
I think it's just getting to the point now. It's just kind of just sadly you get desensitized to all this.
Right.
Unfortunately, like I said, it's just like well, it's like it just happened. It just happened again, and it's sad. And I'm just to the point now. I'm just like what do you do? Like I said the other day, I was like, yo, I just want to stay in my house.
Right.
Because you talk, you're not the Bible says you're not supposed to live in fear and all that stuff. But if we be real with ourselves, it's like
Right.
you could walk out the door and it's like
Right.
just because the police officer had a bad day and they see the color of your skin, they just shoot you and kill you. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's just
Well, the ideal is we've always been me and a gentleman at my job was talking about this, and just any other individuals within the community that I speak with on this subject. We've always been taught to fear the police. We've never really been taught to respect them. I want you to think about that. If you think about the conversations your mom and dad had with you, your grandparents had with you about the police, it never really was respect them because they'll be the ones to help you. Respect them because those are the ones you call when you need to get your car started. Respect them because those are the ones that you want to call when your cat in the tree. Respect them because those are the ones you call if you need help. No, we're taught respect them because if you don't, you're going to die.
Right.
That's how we've been
privilege.
taught. That's how we've been taught. And when you speak of being almost numb to it, you know what I'm saying, numb to it,
Right.
it's more so on the level of this. We've always been numb to it because it's just normal. I want you to think about it. If you look at it like this is why individuals within other cultures in our American society, predominantly white, and I hate to put it like that don't understand why a black man thinks the way he thinks or why a black woman thinks the way she thinks towards the law, towards the judicial system, towards the government, because even they have negative views towards the government, but it's not like ours. There's differences. There's similarities, but there's differences. If you study our history, we've never had a great relationship as black people with our law officers. And we're talking about all the way from plantation dudes on horses to keep slaves from running to now it being your police officers. You know what I'm saying? We've never really had a true relationship with the police where as a whole. Now you might have sporadic blacks here and there that has great relationships with the police. And you got sporadic whites that have horrible relationships with the police. But if you look at it and you take the majority of it, the ideal of this numbness that you're talking about, we've always been numb to it because we've accepted it as being the norm. We've accepted it as it's just another day of survival in Black America, you know. And until we start to have those conversations across the table and actually really truly articulate and voice the historical numbness, that the historical effects that cause us to be numb, the generational teachings that cause us to be numb, and the modern day experience that causes us to be numb, we'll forever have this cycle. But again, it goes back to what was just said earlier. It's going to take us stating that if it happens, you make a fuss about it.
Right.
You make a fuss. It's just no different if you go into Taco Bell and they don't put the proper meat in your taco, you nut up. Why can't we nut up like, you know what I'm saying? If it happens to you, nut up. But be strategic when you nut up now, but nut up in the sense that I'm going to write this letter, I'm going to do this, I'm going to let everybody know, and we're going to get together. I got your badge number, I know who you are, I'm putting your name on blast because you're working public office,
Right.
you're a public servant or whatever. So at the end of the day, guess what? You being a public servant, you being an officer, you hold no privacy when you put that uniform on.
All right.
At all.
Right. Exactly.
True.
Exactly. All right, we're going to continue this conversation. We got to go to a break, and we'll be right back. You're watching KARLTON Says Live.
So much pain, so many heartaches, so many lies to my face, so many people to walk away, so many words that I didn't say, so much rejection, a lot of pain, so much hurt and a lot of rain. So many tears on my face. Never knew life could be this way. Some mornings I would tuck my chin in my chest, take small breaths and cry till there was nothing left. I used
All right, guys, welcome to this special episode of KARLTON SAYS Live, where we are going to continue discussion about police brutality and just the killings of our African American men and women across this country. Now, during the break, you know, we talk, of course, they talk while I'm setting up and different things like that. But Sleepy Eyes brought up a good point, and I just want to go ahead and bring up the question so that way y'all can get caught up to what's going on. A lot of times, I know a big question some people ask, why are we shooting to kill?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why are we just shooting to stop? Or you have a taser, tase them or whatever. It seems like the immediate thing is shoot them and then they're dead. So, and I know you guys aren't cops, obviously. But why aren't we? Why do you think police officers their immediate reaction is, okay, I'm gonna shoot you, and then it's like I'm shooting. It seems like they're shooting to kill. It's just it's an immediate reaction. I'm gonna shoot you and just take you out.
I think some of it depends on the type of officer, their type of belief, because I know some officers believe if I have to take my weapon out to shoot you, I'm shooting to kill you because you're a threat and I don't know what to expect from you. But with that same token, if you're not, you know, if you don't see immediate harm, I don't understand that either. You know, clearly if they have a weapon or you're not entirely sure that they're doing something really questionable, I get it. But I don't understand the concept either of why they feel like, you know, it's necessary, because even if someone has a weapon, I feel like, you know, I'm not speaking as a police officer, it's a problem veteran who's been around weapons, you know, even if that person does have a weapon, I mean, there still could be time for you to defend yourself, you know, and I feel like, oh, I don't know, so I'm just going to shoot him. I personally don't understand it at all.
The interesting thing is, and kind of what we was talking about also during the break, is to this scheme. If we look at Tulsa, let's take Tulsa for an incident, which is a great example of the decisions that two officers in the same situation can make two different judgments on what form of weapon or tactic to use. One grabbed a taser, the other one shot a gun. One shot a taser, the other one shot a gun.
Right.
The interesting thing is, at what point is it okay to shoot a lethal weapon such as a gun? Because even a taser can be lethal if you got bad heart or something like that.
Right.
But either way it goes. But if we analyze that by its case in itself, and something I was saying, granted, I'm not saying my man was correct. I'm not saying he was justified in how he handled it, the civilian, with his hands up, things of that day, walking back to his car. But why would you allow this individual to go from what was almost closer to your cruiser and walk that far to the car and not hit him with the taser then and there?
Right.
I've seen people stand still, like I was telling you, I've seen people stand still being instructed by one officer to stop and drop, and they're just standing there. Another one comes out of nowhere and just tackles them. I've seen that. And he got up to live to see the next day. Is it because, and I've talked to, I've seen some officers state this and things like that, and heard some, he's like, in some training, I'm not saying all training, but from what they're saying, in some trainings, they're being taught to shoot. With just chest, head, boom, they're being taught.
Shoot to kill.
Some of them are. It's being taught because of probably the environment, the individuals they home against. Because let's be honest, our police officers, they have a stressful job. We get that. But if an individual has his hands up, slowly walking to a vehicle, you don't know what he's going to retrieve from that vehicle if he gets it. I get that. At what point, before he reaches the vehicle, do you finally decide, let me disarm, let me diffuse the situation now, before he even makes it to the vehicle?
Right.
That's the questions that we're asking. That's the questions that got us confused. How does a traffic stop, not a traffic stop, but how does a stalled car warrant 4 or 5 officers? That's the question that we're asking. The question that we're asking, an individual, and I'm looking at this camera right now, the individual has his hands up walking to his car. I'm not saying the dude was right. Yeah, he was wrong, but was he wrong enough to die?
Right.
That's what Black America and a decent percentage of white America is asking. We're not asking that you just let all the people that are going to be non-compliant just go home and have a beer. We're not saying that. We're saying that what other option was there for that officer to use? And again, you got two officers. One chose the taser, the other one chose the gun.
Right.
One chose the gun when a situation where the man's hands up and he's walking to the car. Think about that. It just makes no sense to me. It honestly that's what hurt me. And we've seen these videos so many times, but that's what hurts me. Right. That's what kind of crippled my heart. Just he got his hands up. Right. He's walking to the car. Right. At what point in time do we make a conscious decision as a police officer?
Right.
As a police officer to say before he gets to that car, let me go ahead and at least hit him with the taser and drop him.
Right.
Right.
I feel like so much has been going on is making these police officers so fearful.
I agree.
You know, that they're just, I don't think they're thinking it all the way through, like with the incident in Tulsa. You know, because I have many friends who are police officers, and you know, some of them are white, and they're some of the sweetest people you've ever want to meet. You know, they really do want to protect and serve. However, all of them have families, and they're thinking about going home to their families. So, you know, I get that. You know, there's so much going on that, you know, they have that fear of getting back home. Not every job you have to think about, hey, I got to worry about if I'm going to make it back home. I just got to, you know, stay alive for 8 to 10 hours. You know, and I'm wondering also, is that part of why it seems to be happening so often? Because people are getting so upset that it's happening. They don't know, hey, I'm going to this stop and I'm stopping this person. And so now, you know, they might be upset with all police officers, so now I'm going to get shot. Yeah. You know, not excusing their actions, but still saying, you know, I could see that because, you know, I'm fearful for some of my law enforcement friends because, you know, some people are not rational enough to understand that that's not just, you know, that's not what they're trying to do. There's a I feel like it's a decent percentage or a majority percentage of law enforcement officers who were just trying to do their job to protect and serve. And, you know, these ones who are doing these killings unjustified are, you know, the bad apples. So,
but that's what's hurting us. It's the fact that two things, and I'm going to let you go, Carl. Two things that are hurting. I'm going to say this real quick. Number one, these nut cases, and I'm going to say it to those individuals out there that might not like what I'm about to say. I really don't care. These nut cases that want to go to war with every cop in America.
Right.
And go out there shooting cops. Right. Just a random cop, pow. Okay, that doesn't help the situation at all, which makes them, like you said, fearful, right? It makes them fearful. Number two is, yes, it is the case that now I got to go to this environment, and I mean, it's a hostile situation. But what doesn't help it out either is the fact that when the judicial system looks at these incidents that are happening, and I don't forget using the word incident. An incident is I spilled milk, but these killings, these shootings, and stuff like that. What's happening is our judicial system is, and we've seen this so many times, they take the side of the law. They take the side of the law. And then what hurts us even more is these situations show a racial divide in America.
Right.
Automatic racial divide.
Yeah.
Your high percentage of whites is going to support the cops. Your high percentage of blacks is going to say, nah, y'all need to indict. Y'all need to do something about that cop. And if you can't see the racial divide there and not see where there's an issue in that, you're really walking around blind in Malibu, swimming in some oceans and stuff like that. Go ahead.
What I was saying was about the good cops. There definitely are good cops out there. But my thing is, why aren't the good cops standing up and saying, yo,
they're losing their jobs.
You know why? There's the brotherhood. Okay, you are. How many gangbangers do you know?
Oh, I don't know any gangbangers.
Okay, all right. Now I'm going to show you something. Okay. There's a law within gangs, within gang members. What happens in house stays in house. Snitches catch stitches. They get stabbed up, they die. They won't make it to see the next day. Understood? It's no different than a police officer. I know police officers that have lost their job because they wanted to do the right thing. And the majority of them they're a brotherhood. When they say, I hate to say it, much love to police officers, because like you, I got some I sit down and eat at the table with. And I love them to death. My kids play with their kids. You know what I'm saying? And I pray they make it home the same day. Good dudes, man. Good dudes. But guess what? When he put that badge on, you're different. I'm not, you're a police officer right now. I'm over here. But they are one of the biggest gangs in America.
Well, it's like the military is the same thing. You know, it's like we're going to protect our own. I've met people that I've only talked to online, and they could be in a hospital. I've never met him before in my life, but because we have that, that brother that I'm gonna go check on, military members. So they're going to.
So when you say why aren't they speaking up? There
was a lady that lost her job.
They got kids. They got family, they got kids. They want to make it home with a paycheck to support their kids. So this is why I propose that we put something on a legislative floor, and I know you probably got to go to break in a few, but we got to put this on a legislative floor on a sense of when you have a police officer shooting a civilian and it needs to be investigated, that the community or the family has the option of bringing in their own type of investigator from a program the community could probably set up. Or somebody outside of the spectrum of that local law enforcement office. Or a federal government that comes in and deals with it. It needs to be taken out of the hands of the precinct. It needs to be taken out of the hands of the city that is going to now look at these officers who is within this brotherhood.
Right.
It needs to step away from that. You don't let Crips investigate Crips.
Right.
You don't let Bloods investigate Bloods. You don't let Vice Lords investigate Vice Lords. When they go to the court of law, they're not sitting in front of the Crip. My OG ain't sitting up there on the platform with the talk about something. Let me hit a case. All right, you innocent because you with my set. You don't see that.
Yeah, that's true.
So at the end of the day, why is it the same way with our? No, it needs to be taken out of their hands. Their hands is completely tied. You can't do nothing. And then they need to stop letting them off with administrative leave and pay.
No, we'll be right back.
Keep my head to the sky, eyes to the stars. I can't turn back. I came too far. Went dealt the best hand, but I still play my cards and fight for what I believe like a brave heart. A better life has always been my mission. The same intentions of that dope boy in the kitchen. My tunnel vision got me focused on my ambition. Cause people count on me, homie, like a mathematician. But this road that I travel ain't a smooth ride. Roadblocks, setbacks, plenty hard times. But my drive keep me standing tall through the grind. So when that storm come, I smile at them gray skies. Though the odds against me, I'm still fighting. And like Father Time history, I'm still writing. I embrace struggle, I endure the pain. Cause the sunshine always comes after rain.
Keep your head up to the sky. Your time will come, everything will be alright. Don't give up the fight. Sunshine will come, everything's gonna be alright.
Alright, welcome back. KARLTON Says Live. Sleepy got a lot passionate. I ain't gonna say a little passionate, a lot passionate. We had to throw the break, but you made a good point. I just want to go back to the police gang thing. I think what everybody's saying is valid, but at the same time, I'm thinking about the families of the people that were killed. A lot of times, it's been said that okay, these police officers that have families they want to get home to. Well, these people that are dead, they're never going back to their families.
Very true.
So, you know what I'm saying? So it's I think everybody needs to kind of, this sounds weird, but swap. So everybody kind of understand where everybody's coming from. Because I get it. We even here in Augusta, years ago, of course, you remember we had those strings of killings of police officers? Like, it was like back to back. Well, it was a lot. It was Augusta and Aiken. It was back to back. It was a lot.
Oh. So
I get it. I understand, police officers, they have a tough job. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, as a black man, I can only speak from my experience, it's a scary world out there when you have people who have bigot attitudes and who only see the color of your skin. They think you're less than they are. And like, well, your life means nothing, so I'm just gonna shoot and kill you because I think you're a big black dude. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting because I want an old school Chevy. I do, man. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted like an old box Chevy or a long body with a rag top. Mm-hmm. And of course, you see, I got these locks. Mm-hmm. First thing my mama says is, "Boy, you trying to get killed." First thing my brother says is, "Boy, you trying to get killed." Well, by who? By the police. Mm-hmm. I can fit the description of so many different things. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're talking about experience, right? This is the most interesting thing. I can explain myself to an individual on whatever side of the color line, whatever side of the opinion line, whichever butt cheek you choose to sit on. I can explain all day long. Until you've experienced the life that I live, the fears that I have as a black man, you can't comprehend why.
Right.
And until I experience the fears that you have as a cop, whether you're black or white, or even a white cop, especially a white cop, I can't fathom it. If I can only experience what a white American goes through on a day-to-day basis, or whatever they have going on in their life, but I can respect, and this is where we get messed up, and this is the reason why there's no solution. There is no respect across lines on how an individual, like, just because I'm aggravated and mad at the system, and I'm saying as a black man, you say, well, that's not valid because it's 2016, you're not me. But the thing is this, until you experience what I experienced, like live it, if you're across the line, you're not going to be able to fully comprehend it. Right. But respect it, because that's my point of view from what I've experienced in life. What my mom and dad, grandparents, great-grandparents, uncles, aunts, and whoever told me on how to react and act with law enforcement, my experiences ring that true. It's just no different than a person who's white has a conversation with their child, whatever that conversation might be, that's going to ring true if, when they encounter the cops, that is true. That's the outcome of it. Son, if you're respectful, if you do this and do that, you'll make it home safe. You will have no incidents. All right, the white kid goes, he's respectful. And mind you, this is not just predominantly just black and white. This is anybody, but I'm just using this as an example. Mm-hmm. You go, you yes, Mr. Officer, here's this, here's that. All right, thank you very much. Here's your ticket, if that's warranted. Hey, it's my turn now. Hey, Mr. Officer, how you doing? How you doing, sir? You got any drugs in the car? You got any this? You probably asked the white kid the same question. But I got to get out and sit on the curb. Right. Mm-hmm. I got to put my hands on the hood while you fondle between my legs. Like, at the end of the day, I did everything I was supposed to do. And the only thing that was wrong with me at the time was probably something to deal with. I didn't stop at the stop sign correctly like I was supposed to, or I didn't hit my blinker on. But now this is the opportunity to toss my car. Right. Go ahead.
I'll say, me and Ty had an experience. We were coming from Atlanta. We were filming, and when I tell you, because we was cruising. I was doing the speed limit, we was just riding. Next thing I know, I see these lights, and I was like. I looked at Ty, I was like, and it was dark, and I was like, okay. I immediately went. I mean, you go into a panic. Like you said, I can't make you feel my experience, and I can't feel yours. But like for me, like I said, I've been pulled over before. I'm talking about they assumed I was a drug dealer because it was me and a female friend, and she was driving. I was on the passenger side, and we was leaving Walmart. And they pulled us over. They said something was going on with her light. It was a bogus thing, obviously, just to pull us over. They saw two black kids in a nice car, and that's all that was. And so they was asking her questions and doing all this extra stuff, looking all through the car. And she was like, "Well, why are you looking through my car?" And of course, they told us to get out, and they found her mother's pills, prescription pills. And I guess they assumed that that I was trying to sell them. He was like, "You trying to sell drugs? What you doing with the pills?" And like you said, feeling all in between my legs, that has never happened to me. And at the time, I was 20, 21, something like that. And I wasn't never ignorant that racism wasn't real. That's obvious. You see it, but I've never experienced it until that point. And so from that day till now, and I'll be 31 on Saturday. I'm fearful. And whenever a police officer a car could just be pulling up slowly behind me, and my heart starts beating real fast, and I'm not doing anything wrong, but it's just I have flashbacks to that night because
people stop breathing when
we got
it's a scary thing.
It's scary, you know what I'm saying? So it's just it's crippling to live in that type of fear.
Well, I mean, but it's interesting. It goes back to the numbness. I got buddies that'll tell you, man, I get messed with by the police so much, I'm so used to it. That's sad.
Yeah.
I'm bothered by the police so much, man. I'm used to it. Like, why? Because of this, because of that. And the reasons vary. I mean, the reasons can vary across the board. But at the end of the day, it's just one of those things. If you want to change my view on law enforcement, and mind you, I got love for those that are doing their job and trying to do it right. That's for anybody. Anyway, that's not a cop-out statement either. healing. It's honestly not, because again, I got a good buddy, man, I sit down and eat with, man, and my kids play with his kids, and I pray he makes it home safe every day. The church I go to, I know there's 1 or 2 individuals that actually work in law enforcement and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, there is much respect and love to those individuals that are doing their job correctly. Yeah. But if you want to change my view on the whole overall of it, because once you put that uniform on, you're a representation of a system that, I'm sorry, has a cast iron skillet to cook my people in. I hate to say it like that, but if you study history up to this point, the judicial system and the way that it has always dealt with black people, the faces just changed. We went from slaves to 3/5, went from 3/5 to Jim Crow, went from Jim Crow to racial profiling. Now we're going for racial profiling and just shooting. Okay, so at the end of the day, don't tell me the faces don't change. But at the end of the day, if you want to change today's perspective on how black people view the police, change the experience. Make my experience make my mother, my father, and them a lie. Make what I'm going to tell my kid a lie. Make it a lie off of their experience. Because me and my wife are 2 totally different individuals. Her experience with the police is probably nothing. Mine's is like all over the place. So when she got with me, she didn't really think too much of it. It's just nothing that ever crossed her mind. But she gets in the car with me, police get behind us. I'm like, look, police behind us, look straight ahead. She does this. I said, we finna. Granted, we didn't get pulled over, but she said, I don't understand why I couldn't look back. I said, that's guilty by suspicion.
Exactly.
I said, that's guilty by. And the more she learned, and what's sad is, and I hate this, I've made her paranoid because of my paranoia. Just think about that. This is the sickening cycle. So, if you want to change that cycle, the experience has to change, because the teachings won't ever change until the experience changes.
That's true. That's very true. Well, y'all, thank y'all so much for joining me. I thought this was very important. I know we took a hiatus for KARLTON SAYS Live, but I just could not go without saying anything. I felt like it was my responsibility to at least say something. And of course, this is not going to end overnight. We have a long way to go. But like I said, I think it's important that I always say this, I think it's important as a community that we come together and really be the change that we want to see. And I think that's very important. And like you said, we gotta change my experience. Because that's you right on with that. You definitely right on with that. So guys, we want to continue this conversation, keep this conversation going. Go to our Facebook page, KARLTON SAYS. We want to hear from you. Thank y'all so much for joining us, and you guys be safe out there. Continue to love each other. Love your family, hold them tight, and just tell them that you love them. So, all right, y'all, that's it. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.